Good morning, everybody. I think we're live. The screen keeps acting funny, but yeah, we're good. Okay. So, yeah, happy Tuesday, everybody. Today is Tuesday, December 9th, 2025, but this message is also timeless. So whenever you are seeing this, whether that's somewhere on Facebook or YouTube, this is exactly when this message is meant for you. So what I'm going to do is set the intention as I'm drawing these cards today to deliver messages that are in the best interest and highest good of whatever collective this video is going to be reaching. We are working with two decks today, the Akashic Tarot by Sharon Klingler, and actually a deck that's no longer in print, but it's going to be very relevant for what we have today. We have the Magical Messages from the Fairies. Now, before we even dive into the messages, this is going to tell us, the decks I have are going to tell us a lot about what type of messages we have and why. The Akashic Tarot deals with a lot of current life chart, meaning the current journey that you are on, that your soul has designed and charted for you. The fairies are, among many other things, really good at helping us to relinquish a false sense of control. So that may be a theme that's coming up for some of you, is what do we truly have control over, and where in our lives could we release a false sense of control? Where could you perhaps stop trying to control things that you actually deep down know that you cannot control? So I'm shuffling cards right now from the Akashic Tarot, and a little clump has drawn my attention, and we're going to take the third card down. And we have the Six of Forces. This is so interesting. Waterfall. So what does a waterfall mean to you right now? Some of you that practice yoga, maybe you need to do some waterfall pose. It's kind of like a legs up the wall, but maybe with more support, maybe a chair. Yeah. So again, just this is going to have a different meaning, right, with a different reader. But first message on this card is maybe some of you need to do the waterfall yoga pose. And you can look that up online too if you want to see different ways. Or even reach out to me. I teach yoga. I'm also going to look at what the guidebook tells us about this card under the Six of Forces. So forces would be energy in traditional tarot. In an upright position, which this is today, this card is reminding you of your incredible personal power and encouraging you to opening up to the force within. You can't make this stuff up. Didn't I just say that in order for us to enter these next stages that we're about to embark upon, we need to release a false sense of control? And we have this idea of this rushing water, that we can tap into our own inner well, our own inner waterfall. Because often when we feel out of control of the circumstances in our lives, when we are feeling that way, that will tend to disconnect us from feeling a strong connection to our own sense of personal power. And in this case, in terms of the collective that is going to hear this message, the antidote to that is, again, to release a false sense of control. Give it over to spirit. Whatever is on your mind and on your heart, we're going to give that over to the angels, to whoever your source of faith is, for that matter. God, your guides. Again, I really do feel the fairies are close. I'm going to pull a fairy card right now to kind of give us a little more on this message. And and I also want to say that, like, let's say you're adoring these messages in this deck and you're like, darn it, I can't get that deck anymore. Check out the Fairy Tarot deck by Radleigh Valentine. I almost grabbed that one, but because we have the Akashic Tarot, I felt like, all right, we got tarot, now we got the fairies. But dietary change, fascinating. Improving your diet will help improve your life. So for some of you today, this is going to be a confirmation on the changes that you've already begun to make. and to not get too down on yourself if maybe you backpedal a little bit around the holidays, maybe you go back to some old habits. That doesn't mean that you have fallen off the wagon. We all have setbacks, so just keep on keeping on is Spirit's message for you in terms of making changes to what you're eating, or maybe you've stopped eating certain things. And again, we tend to sometimes look at things as all or nothing. Either I'm on an eating plan or I'm not. But we can have shades of gray, right? Like maybe in the past we would have, here's a great example, maybe we would have gone completely indulgent at a big holiday party and just eaten whatever. Maybe this year you go into it and you say, oh, I'm not going to eat any of this or this. Oh, well, you know, I had a few pieces of that, or I ended up having a serving of that. It was a little bit more, but I didn't go all out the way I used to. So being understanding and compassionate with ourselves, giving ourselves grace. And a little bit earlier, Spirit had me talk about a pose called Waterfall, which is typically seen in restorative yoga, probably other forms of yoga. So this concept of yoga comes up. Maybe you do practice yoga, and if so, this would be Spirit reminding you to make time, because it's when we least think we have time for self-care, for yoga, for meditation, for exercise, whatever it is. That's when we need to double down our efforts to make the time to do those things. Also, it may be time to start a new form of self-care or fitness activity. Again, could be yoga for some of you, could be something else for some of you. Be on the lookout for that. For some of you, that'll start after the new year. And the next card, you know, what's interesting is I had trouble getting the cards to go back into the box. So I feel like some of you are having trouble getting all of your ducks to get into a row in your life. There could be a couple of reasons for that. One could be maybe you've just got circumstances, environments, and people around you that are sort of chaotic or very chaotic. That's something I can personally relate to. That could be one reason that this energy is with us of like, I can't get all my ducks in a row. Things just won't be super organized for me no matter how hard I try. That could be because of external factors. Some of you might be sort of in this place in life where you're realizing, I have a lot of internal chaos in my head. Maybe my nervous system gets dysregulated. Maybe you may have ADHD. Maybe you're discovering this. Again, Spirit keeps bringing up yoga. People tend to think of yoga as only a bunch of poses, but the full, really all of what yoga is a nervous system reset, a way of going deep within, a way of calming the monkey mind, and a way of activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So I feel like some of you might be finding ways to do that, or if this resonates, maybe you're hearing this idea for the first time and you're like, damn, that's what I need. So be on the lookout for these supports in your life. I'm really happy this card is coming up. Now, it can be for some, depending on where you live and how you are as a person, it could be tougher at this time of year if you live in a cold climate to be connected with nature in certain ways. If you're not a very outdoorsy person, which I am personally in the summer, so maybe you're like me in that sense. I live in the Northeast where it's very cold, 7 degrees today. I am not someone that likes to bundle up and do things outdoors in the winter. I love being outdoors in the spring, summer, and early fall. So if that's you, maybe the connecting with nature isn't necessarily a call for you to spend time outside, but maybe you can get a few plants in your house to bring some nature into your home. Maybe there are ways for you to sync up with nature by getting more sunlight through windows. Maybe you open the curtains in your work environment. Maybe you move your workspace near a window to a different office. Like if you work from home, maybe you set up a different workspace where you have more natural light coming in. Maybe if you work in another environment, maybe there are ways for you to just get some more sunlight, more natural light into your routine. Some of you might have, I'm being shown what this is, but I don't know the name of it. You might know those lamps that are out there that kind of like mimic natural light. Maybe something like that, because what can happen this time of year for some of us is that if we avoid the outdoors a lot when it's really cold, which is what I personally tend to do, it's possible that we can get out of sync with nature. And I feel like some of you are very aware of this, and therefore it's going to be important for you to look for ways to stay synced up with nature, but look for creative and different ways to do it. Maybe you get an app or something that has an ability for you to have nature sounds in your environment. Maybe your pets are going to enjoy that too. So think out of the box when it comes to connecting with nature this season. I'm going to draw another card for us from the Akashic Tarot. So just keeping in mind as I'm shuffling this cluster of cards here, this is really going to be related to where we are at this point in our life chart journey. And when I talk about life chart, this is the blueprint that your soul wrote for you before you came into your body. So again, this is along that theory of incarnation, reincarnation, I should say. And if you're not a big believer in that, that is fine. Take what resonates from this video and leave what does not. So I'm going to draw the final two cards. Interesting. I got this energy of three of the cards almost feeling stuck together. I feel like some of you are feeling sort of like you want to break free from certain relationships and you don't know how. Like I'm being shown this sort of like I need to get away. Like this might be you right here. How do I get out of this family situation or these peers at work or at school? I feel like there's a few of you younger folks that are still maybe high school or even about to go to college, and you realize your friend group isn't the best, and you don't want to stay in that friend group, but you don't know how to get out of it. You're going to figure out how to do it. Just setting the intention right now, and again, whatever I just said, however that applies to you, if you know that you need to get out of a certain type of work social group at work or at school, or maybe your family are on the holidays and you're feeling like, how do I get out of this? For now, just the fact that you have the intention of disengaging from those dysfunctional dynamics is enough for now. And just trust yourself that you'll find ways. You know, for some of you, maybe you don't need to completely break relationships and cut off all contact. If you do, and you know that that's you, then great, do that. But I do feel for some of you that it could look something like this. It could look like you're at school, at the lunch table, and you just don't like the conversation. Maybe some of the people in your group are having a mean conversation about someone. Maybe you just find an excuse to go talk to another group of friends for a while. You just get away from it. Maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe at the holiday table when uncle whoever or aunt or mom starts nagging about something, oh, I'm going to go check on the food. Oh, I got a call on that. That's a lot of, sometimes we speak with our actions and we tell people what we will be a part of and what we won't be a part of by our presence or by withdrawing our presence. And I think right now for a lot of you, that's going to speak largest to you. Largest is what they're saying. Of course, there are other ways that you can sort of disentangle from certain social dynamics, but I think a lot of you are going to resonate with whatever I just said about just removing yourself from certain conversations, certain groups of people, if you just aren't comfortable with the direction that that social group is taking their conversation. So next we've got, it's very fascinating, after that message, the King of Scrolls. This is actually one of my favorite cards in tarot. In traditional tarot, and this is how we're going to read this card today, we're going to read it as if we had drawn from traditional tarot. The King of Swords. So some of you that are real tarotists, you're going to know right away what card I'm talking about, and you're going to go, damn. The King of Swords can be cold. I mean, for some of you, that's the guy that could just be cold. Like, he wouldn't call for a few days, and then when you were like, what's up? He was just like, oh, I'm going to be MIA for a while because I'm dealing with some stuff. Now, he thinks he's being considerate by telling you he's not going to be in touch for days. You're pissed because you're like, hi, did you notice that a relationship requires regular communication? No? Well, all right then. That's going to resonate with some of you. Okay, well, let's read on, because there's going to be several messages on the King of Swords. Dude, why the fuck do we keep dating the fucking King of Swords, man? He seems great at first. He's logical. He's disciplined. He's successful. He, in a lot of ways, is very aware of what's needed of everything and everyone around him, right? Kind of like the Emperor in some ways. But the difference between the Emperor and the King of Swords is the Emperor, it's almost like his responsibilities are bigger, so he kind of has to disconnect more. Here's the thing, though. I love this. So those of you that are going, holy shit, how'd you know I keep dating these jerks? These King of Swords that are so cold. That Chris Stapleton song, Cold. Chris Stapleton song, Cold, is in my head. Those of you that are resonating with that message, it is once you become the King of Swords a bit more, that suddenly you'll stop dating the King of Swords. Once you learn to be able to just go a little detached from dynamics that you're unhappy with, you're going to attract a different type of person. Isn't that fascinating? So like what I was just saying about that ability to just step aside and remove yourself from heat dynamics that would get you heated, when you become the King of Swords yourself, suddenly you'll start dating the Queen of Cups maybe. And I got to tell you, whether the Queen of Cups is a male or female in your life, this is a warm person who would give you the shirt off their back, who is sensitive to you, who will be available to you. So that's kind of nice. Let's talk more about the King of Swords. And let's look at this guy here. He's young, and he has come into a position of responsibility and authority. That might be how some of you are feeling today, that you're taking on, maybe you've been offered a big promotion, or something has shifted in your family, and you have a lot of responsibility and a lot of people counting on you. It is essential to be able to breathe during heated moments. And again, this idea of having a mindfulness practice like yoga or meditation, that can overlap to yoga nidra for some of you. It can really help. Let's put this card aside. I feel like there could be more come up on that later, but let's move on to the next card. Another card from Scrolls. So this would be the Three of Swords. Now, we're going to have a couple of different meanings. I'm going to get this out of the way first. In traditional tarot, the Three of Swords would be betrayal, heartbreak. Have you been cheated on? Yeah, fuck those bastards. But there's a reason that these things happen. In terms of where it's going to put us in our life, what kind of course it's going to set us on, or we're going to set ourselves. So, setting your course, what did you learn from the betrayal? What did it teach you about yourself? It's interesting. Sometimes when I watch a movie or read a book, I'm starting to really like some of the darker characters a lot. Like in Harry Potter, the Dementors are like some of my favorite characters. And you want to know why? Because as someone in their 40s that's been through difficult times, I read those books when I was in my early 20s, and now I'm reading them again, and I have a deeper understanding of what those Dementors are for. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I think parts of this are still going to resonate with you. The Dementors are energy vampires. They will feed your fear. They'll increase your fear. They'll sort of siphon away your hope. But if you think about what they do what narcissistic people do. And if you've gotten out of a narcissistic relationship, you've watched Harry Potter, maybe you've gotten out of a narcissistic relationship, or you're getting out of one, and I would check it out. I want to say it's the third book, second or third. So the character Harry, not to spoil it, but he's got to learn to overcome fear. This is why I love the Dementors, because if you can overcome fear, the Dementors cannot suck the life out of you. And that's why that's one of my favorite parts of that whole series, is when Harry learns to not look outside of himself to fill his own cup. to open his heart with love, to get into a place of love and happiness and overcome these Dementors. That's why I love the Dementors. But I don't actually love them. They're a metaphor to get us to love ourselves fully without looking outside of ourselves. Because you're not going to overcome a Dementor without filling your aura with love. And in the case of the book, the Harry Potter book and movie, taking your wand and using that love, that intention, to manifest a Patronus, this bright light creature that will shield you from these Dementors. That's a metaphor. So some of you, even if you don't know the book, you're going, holy shit, that's exactly what I'm working on right now in my life. Well, damn straight. I'm psychic. Yeah, so here's the thing. Where are the Dementors in your life? Because it's not that they helped you set your course exactly, but your narcissistic ex or family member or whatever, or your difficult child, even if you have an older child that's really difficult. How have you set your course in life? Because, see, here's the thing. Narcissistic relationships, Dementors, are going to help us to shine a light on what we don't want and what we want to move away from. And that helps us, that dark helps put light, literally helps us shine a light of clarity on what we do want. So, setting your course, what do you want in 2026 and beyond? What do you want right now? This is a great time for some of you to maybe do a voice recording of yourself talking about that, if that works best for you. Maybe and this is what I personally tend to do, is I just tend to write things down, just, pen and paper, just like a list of things I'd like to manifest, intentions. I don't like to say goals, I like to say intentions or visions. Some of you might do a vision board. I've done those once or twice, and I think they're phenomenal. I don't tend to do a lot of those because I have a rich inner eye. But some of you might work best by finding pictures online or in magazines and putting them up on a vision board, combine pictures and words for things that you want to call into your life. And as much as I think sometimes we hate to admit it, those relationships, those betrayals, those people that have been so shitty to us, and they have, let's face it, when we really look at how we have chosen to grow and learn, often the hardest things we've had to overcome have been situations that and we took the opportunity to deepen in self-love and to really redefine what love means to us. If you had a toxic family, you had to think. You didn't just have to take everything in life for granted, that love is always going to be there. You had to really think, what is love? Because whatever I was shown, that's not the brand of love I want in my life. And have patience with that process and grace with yourself. Maybe it's taking a long ass time to manifest what you really want in your life. Well, so the fuck what? That doesn't mean you're failing. That doesn't mean that shit ain't ever gonna happen, folks. It's interesting. Not every video we're reading has me doing a lot of swearing, but what I do find is when I end up doing a lot of swearing, it's because we've got a message. Is reaching a collective that is pulling up a lot of gunk to heal, a lot of hurt, working through a lot of trauma. So fucking good for you. Celebrate. Where's your fucking eggnog? Cheers. Here's to you, damn it. Here's to you. Damn it, to hell. You know what? You folks need to write up better goals for yourself. What do you want? Fuck everyone else. I mean, not entirely. What do you want, damn it, for 2026? Damn it, you better start doing something for yourself this New Year's. I'm not kidding around. Okay. Final message on the King of Scrolls here, or Swords. Some of you are going to see something in that visual when I hold that up reverse. We've got one more minute here. That's long enough. Now, final message on that King of Scrolls. I'm going to use the guidebook because, to be honest with y'all, I haven't drawn that card much at all. This reversal could indicate a separation from a man who can often be too analytical, tends toward overthinking. Could be the loss of a friend, coworker, or even a love relationship. So some of you may be experiencing that. Watch, because we tend to borrow each other's energy with anyone we're around. So what they're highlighting to me is you might be separating from a man that tends to overthink, be too analytical. You may have picked that up from him without realizing it. So that's again where we talk about somatics, parasympathetic nervous system, breathing. We talk about finding ways to rewire the nervous system. And that's it. That's what Spirit has for us today. I hope this resonates with you. If it does, if you're on YouTube, please leave a like, even comment. I love to hear how these things are showing up for you in your life. And if you want to dive deeper into anything that came up here, or maybe something else is on your heart, and you feel perhaps that a private reading or a group reading would be fantastic right now, please reach out to me. My website tells you how to do that. You can fill out a contact me form, or you can contact me under the methods on that contact page. It is heatherlcoleman.com, heatherlcoleman.com. So you can reach me there. If you're on Facebook, please feel free to send me a direct message. I'd love to help you out in any way possible. Other than that, I want to wish you all an absolutely beautiful week, a wonderful, peaceful holiday season, and I wish you so much love to you and yours. Take care.